All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Xbox Talks. This is episode number 35. If you guys haven't been to a show here, this is what it's all about. We pretty much just talk about random Xbox stuff that's happened throughout the week. We will bring people up from the community. If you guys want to come talk, like I said, this show's about as much as yours as it is ours. So please, if you guys want to come up and talk, hit the hand raise button down below. Just as a general housekeeping rule, if you aren't talking, please mute your mic. And other than that, let's get this show started. As always, I'm Korkenstein, one of your hosts here and mods for Xbox Series X. We have Moko Worm.
Hi, how you doing, Kev?
Hey, bud, doing good, doing good. We have Dave Foreman.
Heyo, welcome, or I guess hello.
And we also have Mikey J. Raymond, which I think he might be having some technical difficulties.
Dude.
So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and let's introduce our guest host today. We have Harry Cockroach. She is a mod for our Discord community. Pretty awesome to have you here again. If you guys have been for previous shows, she's been here before. But yeah, let's welcome her up to the stage.
Hey everybody.
Hey, she
It's
did better
weird
than
talking
Mikey.
and not typing.
That's true too. Yeah, this is a weird format for all of us, so we're getting more comfortable with it though. And thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Mikey, did you get your Mikey worked?
Oh,
yes, I did.
There we go.
I've never made
for
that
some
joke
reason
until
when
now.
I came in, everybody was muted. You guys never got unmuted for me, so I'm gonna blame Reddit Talk.
I also had that problem earlier, so we got some gremlins in the works tonight, but we're gonna make it happen. So.
Well, awesome. Good to have you guys here. Let's start with how we always start off. What are you guys playing this week?
Who's first?
Mikey's first. I just made a decision.
it's a list. So I tried out. I played Deathloop. Love it. Been continuing my run through a Kingdom Come. Did 2 Point Campus, which by the way, also a nice little relaxing game.
Nice, good find.
And I played the heck out of Metal Hellsinger, as I told you guys in the chat.
That's a fun one, isn't it? You got to crank it up, and I thought the neighbors were gonna come over when I was playing it. Like I just went for it, man. My speakers were begging for mercy, but it was so much fun.
For me, I couldn't play on speakers. I had to have the headphones. My timing was just a little off if I played speakers, but as a headphone experience, it was terrific.
Yeah, fair point. Lag and stuff can happen, especially with audio systems and stuff. So, very important in that game. Hey, I'll throw it over to Anthony now. He's sitting up there looking all like, yeah.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Loads of Game Pass stuff. Deathloop I tried, which is great. The COD beta I had a go at last night, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, we will.
I've been playing a lot of Nintendo Switch as well with my kid. I'm introduced my kid to the original sort of NES game, so he's been playing Super Punch Out, which he loves, which is dead funny to see.
The original Super Punch Out, like
yeah, on the NES.
Yeah, the SNES version, right? That's great.
The ones you can access through the Switch.
I still remember the code to Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out, so we won't get too far into that though. Harry Cockroach, why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
I've already started too many games within the last week because I started Octopath Traveler. Because even though I pre-ordered that, I got the pop-up book edition when it released. I still haven't played it yet. I've played Splatoon 3 pretty much anytime I can find the time to do so. God, there's one more. Oh, I just started Slime Rancher 2, and I'll probably start Grounded when the 1.0 update releases in a few days.
Yeah, that's officially hitting 1.0, big release, and it's nice to hear that you're getting into Octopath Traveler, a Game Pass game still, if anybody wants to check that out. It's been on my backlog as well, and I every time I start it, I'm like, this game is fantastic, and then something new and shiny grabs my attention, and one of these days I'll make it back to it. So, Kevin, you started us off. Why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
Well, today is my day back. I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks, so I caught up with Deathloop for a little bit today. Amazing game. Absolutely amazing. I pretty much spent like the last 3 hours playing that, and then I did a little bit of the COD beta. So I think we're going to talk about that a little later. So I'll save my my judgment till then. But other than that, yeah, just those two games. I really haven't had a lot. Oh, Return to Monkey Island, Game of the Year winner right there.
nice.
That is,
Is it
I mean, it
good?
has all the charm. Oh, it's amazing. If you love the old series, if you're an old school point and click kind of a player, it's absolutely amazing. It has all the charm. Ron Gilbert's back. It's just everything about it is just A+ if you're a fan of that series. So check it out.
Amazing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of positive stuff on Twitter about that, so that's awesome that you got a chance to play it and check it out, and that's great. So, that's the full circle, right? Should we just jump right into the news? We do have a full show this week.
Yeah, let's go.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's have Anthony. Why don't you pick where we start? I'm putting you on the spot.
Let's start with the handheld.
Nice. And this boy. Okay, so I'm not very versed in this. I will admit that. So you guys can probably fill in more of the details, but I'll kind of lead it off. What's the price point on this? Did we see 350?
350.
350.
Yeah.
So the device itself, without the price, sounded kind of pretty okay. It's a streaming only device. Really good battery life. Meant for dedicated Game Pass play. I think a lot of the criticism is coming as we're comparing this to Steam Deck, which is $400 for the base model.
Yeah.
So for
Correct.
$50 more, in my opinion, the Steam Deck offers so much more as a native gameplay, your Steam library, plus the workaround to get in a Game Pass. Where are you guys at with this? Would you be interested in it, or is the price just a killer?
It's a killer against Steam Deck. As someone that's actually been looking to get a Steam Deck, just because I do so much of my gaming on PC, I'd love to have just like a portable one to do my Game Pass stuff. And the Logitech is not an answer for me. I sat down and tried to do cloud on my phone the other night when I was playing 2 Point Campus, and I was over it in about 30 seconds because it was emulating touchscreen controls for a controller. Now, maybe it would be better if I hooked up a controller, but there's a lot of VSync issues. I never have a great time cloud gaming unless I'm hooked up directly to an Ethernet cable. So the on the go might work for some folks. For me though, $50 more, I'm buying that Steam Deck.
See, I've used the controller. So Jay mentioned it in our Discord this week. It's much easier for me to carry a controller around with me. Just Bluetooth it to my phone, right? I've got one of those little clips. You clip on the controller and it holds your phone. And it's passable. It's okay. Not for high intensity games like you said in the past, but to spend 350 on this device, I think it's a little much.
Yeah,
like you said, if you're going to invest that money, you'd buy a Steam Deck.
Yeah. I don't know. As somebody that does cloud gaming, I used to, because I travel for work sometimes. So a lot of the times I do spend some time in hotel rooms and stuff like that. And I've used the cloud a lot of times, and it's a great. I don't know. I've never really had any issues with it. Granted, maybe just because it's the hotel Wi-Fi is a little bit better. But I don't know. I see a lot of value in this on the train. It kind of takes away that controller aspect of it. Turn your phone into a Wi-Fi hotspot. I don't know. I see value to this, but I think the pricing is vastly off, and I think that's what's gonna draw a lot of people away, especially like Mikey was saying, $50 more. Steam Deck, why not?
But the one thing it does have going for it, and why it's 350, is because it's also meant to be a big mobile gaming device. Like you go play your Clash Royale, you go play, I know your Supercell game. Sorry, I'm a huge Supercell fan. Or anything that you like, COD Mobile, Fortnite on the go. It's meant for those as well, not necessarily just cloud gaming. That's just a feature that they partnered with Microsoft. So first and foremost, it's that mobile gaming device, which is why the cost is up, because it has that hardware to do that.
And then it also has GeForce Now. I think I saw on it as well, which is a big draw for that too.
It does. Yeah.
I think I saw GeForce Now.
Still kind of limited to me in the face of the Steam Deck, and it's just that's the killer for me. If I was going to spend $350, I may as well spend $400 and get what I see as a superior device. But I'm sure there are advantages to this one. Like I said, the battery life is supposed to be exceptional, and you mentioned not having a Logitech controller. I think you mentioned a train. And that is a scenario where a controller and phone is really cumbersome. When you put your phone on your lap and you're just like juggling around and things are falling over. I mean, I can barely do that in bed. And I try to play at night. I do cloud gaming sometimes. I've had a pretty good experience cloud gaming, up to the most twitchy of games. I would never want to play a first-person shooter or anything online competitive, but the home network seems to be pretty solid, and what I'm playing is good. I wouldn't want to play with those touch controls. I hope that someday they can import or develop native touch controls for a lot of these games. Something like Slay the Spire, for example, already has built-in touch controls because it's a mobile app, and it would be great to see if Microsoft can somehow, and I know it's probably a lot more complicated than it sounds, but implement that same kind of control system on your cloud gaming, which would it would help immensely. Using an Xbox controller with virtual buttons for me is just like, no, I just don't want any part of it. So we'll see how it evolves. Go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say, and that was the main drawback for me when I was trying 2 Point Campus, because I brought up the game hoping that there was a touchscreen control, because I hadn't actually really dabbled in touchscreen controls at that point, and instead what I was greeted by was 2/4 of my screen, so half of it on each side, taken up by the virtual buttons, and it was covering information. I'd have to constantly sit there and move them in order to see what I was doing or to see what I was trying to read, and I just, like I said, I was actually over it within 30 seconds to 60 seconds because it was already so frustrating. I just like, why is this there?
No,
why?
That's a game where you're doing placement and you have to do, like one little row at a time type of thing. If you're trying to do that with virtual control, I mean, what a mess. Yeah, that's a terrible experience. I have heard that some games like Minecraft Dungeons, maybe, the inventory does have like a kind of built-in touch controls that aren't native to the console version of the game. So it sounds like they're kind of exploring anyway and looking into new ways to improve that. So
what do you think's the chances of sort of, this is the first device we've seen like this. What's the chance of Microsoft releasing an official Game Pass handheld?
That's a really good question.
It seems like a shoo-in to me. It seems like a,
I feel like they'd probably be content to let the third parties handle it, just like they are with the controller, the phone accessories, and all that other stuff. I'm not sure how hungry Microsoft is for peripheral money and hardware money. The controllers and design lab are obviously doing very well for them, but the memory cards, even they license those out, right? We got Seagate making the internal storage memory right now, so kind of give or take. I don't know. There's always been this rumor about Xbox developing the handheld, the Xbox Boy or whatever you want to call it, but it just doesn't seem like a lane that they're interested. They have a lot going right now already.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
You go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Roach. What do you think? Would you buy a handheld?
Not this one.
Yeah, that
I love
sums
the candidness.
That's all we could have said. That's all we should have said.
I like the battery life because, like the Steam Deck, I feel like if I don't charge it in, I'll turn it on and be like, "Oh, I gotta charge it."
Like a 2-day battery life, this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's 12 plus hours on there, but I don't know if that's, depends on the game, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're traveling, I think that actually makes has more of an impact. Like if you're on an airplane or, but it's a streaming device, so you have to have good internet while you're using it too. So
right.
It's in a weird place.
Are you really going to be able to play your games as well as a Steam Deck? I don't know.
I mean, theoretically, but no. No, you're not.
Theoretically, yeah.
and my travel buddy already got taken up by a Switch. Whenever I travel,
there you go.
I bring my Switch with me.
Right.
That's been my go-to. It's like, oh, what do I get to catch up on now? All right.
Who on this panel has a Switch along with their Xbox? Do we all have a Switch?
Yeah, I got one. Yeah,
I do. One.
Yeah, it's the great companion console. So
I just took it with me on my vacation. So
that's great. I played the hell out of Diablo 3. I just missed the perfect pun, but on my Switch, it was a great experience. So that's I guess we're all kind of panning the new handheld. If you got some money to blow and you want to try out the technology, come give us a review. Come join us, and we'd love to talk to you about it once they come out. So let's kind of move to the next subject. And but since we're letting people pick subjects, let's let Mikey pick the next one for us.
Oh gosh,
I was gonna say before we do, I did bring up KFTGR2 to the stage to kind of weigh in his opinion or her opinion.
Yep, Mikey can think about that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that for the Logitech G cloud device, it'll it would have gone a lot better if they had like included like a year of Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh, great idea.
Partner up with Microsoft.
Great idea.
Oh, you're right.
Kind of like they're all access with the consoles. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xbox, hire this man. Hire him right now. That is actually a really good. That would have been a great selling point, actually, and that's a good point.
And for xCloud touch controls, you guys should really check out Townscaper. That has like fully implemented native touch controls.
Is that right? I will try it out. I'm interested in games that are checking out this tech. I don't know anything about the game, but just because it's exploring this this possibility, I'll check that out after the show. So good suggestion, and thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a cool game to chill with. So yeah.
Terrific. Let's while you're up here, is 350 too much for this device? How do you feel about it?
Oh yeah, definitely. 200 would have been the max.
There you go. Yeah, that seems right.
I think that's a good price point right there. Is 200. I've seen a lot of people say the same thing. I mean, you could get it on Amazon for 300, $50 less, but still 200 would have been the sweet spot.
Yeah.
350 is just
awesome.
a lot of money.
GR2. We appreciate you coming up and talking with us.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime, bud.
So that's a good story. I think we'll leave that one there. And like I said, it sounds like we're all against it. So, Mikey, what do you got for us? You've had time to think.
Well, my go-to was going to be, COD. But I told myself that I wasn't going to pick it because I didn't want to be generic, but everyone probably expects me to pick it, so I'm picking COD.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was going to place an over-under on him picking COD as a topic.
I didn't even think about that. How much time have you had with the beta? You have played a ton of Call of Duty in your gaming career. Give us the lowdown. How are you feeling?
Since yesterday, I've probably got about 7 or 8 hours, which is probably quite a lot. It's a return of Modern Warfare 2019 with a fresh coat of paint. If you enjoyed 2019, I think you'll enjoy this one. There's a lot of little things that are coming out about it that people are annoyed by. I see a lot of talk about the mini map being removed and stuff, and Call of Duty's been removing the mini map for a few years now. They had it removed in 2019. I remember all the way back to Advanced Warfare. Not Advanced Warfare. I get my Call of Duties confused. Sorry. Black Ops 4 had what was called Fog of War, which I thought was the best mini-map reduction practice that I'd ever seen. What they did was, if somebody was looking at somebody while they were shooting, their mini-map red dot would show up. And for people that don't know, in the current Call of Duty, the mini-map's still there, but if you shoot with a unsilenced weapon, you no longer show up on the mini-map, which has been a thing off and on, and is now controversially in there again. So what are your guys' thoughts in the game? I'm actually really loving it. There's a few other things I could talk about, but I don't want to turn this into a Mikey rant.
I think we talked a little bit about it earlier. It definitely plays like the Modern Warfare, like you were saying. For me, because just coming off of Vanguard and Warzone and that almost Twitch action kind of, the weapons are heavier. It just seems it's a little more slow downish. I mean, the action's still pretty heavy, but for me, it was just, I don't know. It felt weird playing on console. I haven't played it on PC yet, but yeah, I liked it. I liked what it was. I think it's gonna definitely. I think it's going into a good place. I think footsteps. The sound needs to get dropped down a lot. I mean, like I said, I could hear guys across the map pretty much. Recoil's kind of an issue, but overall, I think it's fun. I had fun with it.
See, I'd go the other way from you. I think it's very fast. So coming from Halo Infinite multiplayer and Destiny 2 multiplayer, it was completely frantic for me. I was like, I think I said to Mikey before, my heart rate was up the entire time I was playing. It was just crazy. But it was in a good way, though. I enjoyed it. I thought it looked great. I thought it played well. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I played a grand total of 1 round. I got it downloaded and got to play just before the show. I went 4-14, which is pretty predictable for me. I'm not, it takes me a long time to warm up in Call of Duties. I can get better. I can start pulling my weight, but it always takes me a few weeks. My impression was it did feel slow to me, so I was kind of surprised to hear Kevin say that. The last shooter I played was Halo Infinite. I did play probably 100 hours of multiplayer on that, enough to get my skills up and having some good rounds and having some fun. I enjoyed my one round of Call of Duty. I just wanted to chime in and say that it felt heavy to me. I had the default loadout, and even sprinting and stuff. Like I didn't feel like I was moving too fast around the map. It wasn't like really arcadey. It felt a little more real than I'm used to from my memory of some recent Call of Duties, and I'm not sure if that's a big change or if I'm just being weird and need to play it a little more. And it could be the weapon loadout. I'm sure different weapons have different agility and different
the
speed,
shotgun's
right?
pretty powerful. Shotgun that was my go-to in the end.
I found out the wrong way. I found out the bad end of that.
It's Infinity Ward. So Infinity Ward makes Modern Warfare, and they've been going for this heavy aspect where everything feels heavy. Even the movement does. One of the things I was talking to you guys about before was the recoil. Now there's a lot of recoil in this Call of Duty, but the thing that feels heavy about it is with games like Vanguard. The recoil that it produced was the gun bounced very quickly and came back to center. There was still recoil, but the action on the screen was quick. Whereas Infinity Ward seems to have thrown a few extra frames in for every shot rendered, so that recoil is heavy coming back down, and and you feel it. You see it in the movement, how the gun sways. It's not quick and concise like Vanguard would be. Vanguard to me seemed like they were working on Call of Duty from the previous engine. They didn't have 2019's, and it felt like Cold War was also, who was made by Treyarch. They were working on their previous engine. None of these games have been on this engine yet, which going forward, I've heard they will all be on this one. The other thing that adds to kind of the slowness of the game, and you talked about the footsteps. The reason you hear everyone's footsteps this time, not only is it the audio, but they removed dead silence as a perk again, which was a choice they made in the first MW. And dead silence is still there. It's in a field upgrade, but there are other better options over that. Like you can get a tracking device that you can throw into a room, and if anybody goes by it, you get a warning on your screen. And in a game when you have no red dots or mini map with the red dots, you want tracking devices potentially over something that's going to give you silent footsteps for 20 seconds. So it's all this in turn kind of, people are worried it's going to be a camping game, and it probably is. If you're not into the slower moving Call of Duties, Modern Warfare is probably not going to be for you. And I usually like the fast ones. I can adjust to this, but it's definitely going to be a bit of a camper's paradise because of all those introductions. And it was with 2019's. Everyone sat in corners. It was camper heaven because of all those adjustments, which is unfortunate, but just be better.
Are you looking forward to it then, Mikey? You think, that doesn't sound like a great experience to me, but you say you're looking forward to, to playing the game.
So my play style in Call of Duty throughout the years has changed. I mean, in COD 4, even when you had dead silence, everyone was wearing Turtle Beaches back in the day that were competitive, and you could still hear dead silence. So even when you did 1v1s, you did them on shipment, and you'd hear people even running through the crates still. You could just faintly hear them. So even with dead silence, what a lot of people would do is they'd walk around aimed in, or they'd crouch walk. And if you walk around standing aimed in, and you just up all the agility points for your aim down sights movement into your perk points, a lot of your walking you'll be checking corners scoped in, because you no longer have footsteps. So that's kind of the approach that I've been taking, and it's definitely a bigger thing in this game than it is in other Call of Duties, where you can just sprint jump around a corner and possibly take someone out, and take advantage of network lag. There's also a very, very small thing in what this kind of helps counter is in Call of Duty, there's this peeker's advantage, I'll say. And when you're on network, when you jump out through a door and you see someone, you will actually see them way before they see you, due to the network advantage that you have, because you've made that first move where your client is reporting to the server saying, hey, I'm doing this, but you've already done it. So you get to start shooting before that other client gets that information that from the server that you've jumped around the corner. So peeker's advantage has always been a huge thing. Having no dead silence kind of helps it a little bit, but I've turned on so many people because of how loud their footsteps are this beta. They're trying to flank me, and it's like, all right, elephant around the corner. I'm ready. Just sitting there waiting.
Well, see, and the thing is too is even if you're crouched and going, you can still hear the footsteps if your headset's like. Because I got the Arctis Nova, and I can hear people crouching and walking around the corner too, which is kind of crazy.
You can hear that little, like a little kind of a scrape on the ground, like you're touching cement. It's loud. It's different, which is why it gives advantage to people who sit. Or what we'll see a lot of is people will sit and take advantage of a large open area, which is usually what they do. But you'll see it more often now because the risk of running into a building and sprinting is far lower. So it's going to be a weird one for Call of Duty veterans. We're going to have to adjust, but I like it way more than 2019 already, simply because of the maps. Because now I don't have to worry about going down a street and checking 20 windows so far. The maps seem much better.
Yeah.
I will say
I've actually really liked them.
The maps did seem to have like a lot of up and down to them. It wasn't like a plain. I know Call of Duty is really kind of focused on that in the past, but the very first thing I did, I was climbing up balconies, and it seems like I was on the third floor of one of the maps, like right out of the gate. I did play in a Series S. I didn't play it on the X yet. I'm sure it looks fantastic on there, but holds up really well on the S. Runs really well. No frame drops. They got it pretty tuned in, which is what I would expect from Call of Duty. They've been doing this for a long time, so it seems to be pretty well optimized.
The Series S, I don't know how they pulled it off. Will actually do 1080p 120, which to me is nuts.
That's amazing.
The set I have my S hooked up to doesn't do 120, but I would almost like to bring that upstairs just to see how it's doing.
I heard it on the. I don't even know if this is true. Somebody said on the sub that the PS5 is only running at 60. It can't do 120.
There was a problem. You had to remove save data or something to refresh it so that you could unlock 120 hertz mode. Right. It was a glitch. Thankfully, because that would suck for PlayStation users. Not gonna lie. The only way I play is in 120 hertz mode.
Yeah, that would be an absolute it would be bad. The internet would explode if that was the case.
So, Mikey, do you think they're going to change the sound and recoil and stuff like that? Or do you think this is kind of like where they're going with it? Because, I mean, the sound almost seems like it's a bug. That's how loud it is. So,
they did say that they're going to drop the sound. They're going to lower it. They said that otherwise the recoil's here to stay.
Okay.
Which I agree with, simply because, like, Vanguard, so many guns. The old MW2, if I could talk about that game for a moment, and the ACR in that game was an absolute laser for people that remember that game. And so many guns in Vanguard, once you unlocked all the recoil attachments and stuff, it just felt like everything was an ACR. I got tired of it. There was really no disadvantage to running certain weapons. It felt like there was meta weapons, obviously, because a lot of guns are measured off TTK, time to kill, in the COD meta, but everything felt like a laser beam. If you got first shot, you were going to win. So you could level and play with what you wanted. Whereas MW2 so far, it really feels like some guns have an advantage. Like I'm going to hit my long range shot with my AR if I pull out, my Vector, my SMG, or any SMG in Modern Warfare. They have a drop off for hits. The accuracy is way off. You can't laser beam that stuff, which is good. The shotguns felt incredibly balanced. Up close, it was a one shot, like it should be. It's a shotgun. And gameplay wise, they drop off a little bit, but I could still two shot somebody from about 15 feet away, which felt fair because given the time to kill of other weapons, they could still drop me. So I think the recoil's here to stay. Sorry for the little rant, but the sound's coming down, and we'll see what they do about the mini map, because a lot of people want changes. So far, they're very stuck in their way. But I know with Black Ops 4, they changed how the fog of war worked a little bit to compensate player outrage.
And then do you think the time to kill is at a good sweet spot? Because I don't know, it seemed inconsistent for me. Because there'd be times where I'm just blasting, just bam, bam, bam. I'm nailing shot after shot after shot. And then the guy just 180s and no scopes.
As somebody who died many times.
I had that experience.
I died fast and quick. And the shotgun, no time to kill, not a problem for the shotgun. So we're good.
Yeah,
I actually thought it
don't
was
know.
very well balanced. For
Okay.
me, it wasn't too quick, and I've played bullet sponge games, and I bring up Black Ops 4 again because that was one that I think they gave everyone 150 health. Like the time to kill was increased, and that's when they had the operator abilities and stuff. And thank God they dropped those. So I think it's in a good spot, but that's my opinion. I'm not sure how others feel about that. And people listening right now, if you've played the beta, feel free to come up, disagree or agree, or add in your own 2 cents. This is just coming from a guy that's played way too much Call of Duty, hundreds of hours of every game for the last 22 years.
Which is why we always defer right to you when we get some breaking Call of Duty news, because you just have so much experience with it. So I greatly appreciate all the details that you're able to share with us. And I hope if you guys are out there and you're Call of Duty fans, like Mikey said, come on up and tell us what you're thinking about the beta so far. I feel like I'm such an amateur when I give my opinion. It doesn't matter much with this, but it's an eternally popular game, soon to be maybe a Microsoft Studios game, which is just wild to think about still to this day. And we're excited to see what happens with Modern Warfare 2 here, and if they make any changes from this beta, or if they stay the course here. So I like the gameplay. I did like the slowness of it, and that's where I'll leave it, I guess. So I'm gonna pick a story now. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that we had a guest this week on the subreddits on Xbox One and Series X, and it was Ebb Software. They shared some details about Scorn, which is coming out next month. I think it's one of the most anticipated games of this year. I have mistakenly thought it was a shooter forever and ever. That's why it was great having them come and share some details about the game. And this is a really interesting game to me. We're talking about an 8 to 10 hour playthrough. They confirmed that. Several people asked them about how long it would take. Some people seem to be turned off because they think that there's a bunch of puzzles and it's going to be, you walk into a wall and then, oh, well, I need to match the 3 colors here. But I don't think that's how the puzzles are going to work in this game. They're really built into the levels and the flow. If you've seen the prologue video that they released this week, you kind of get a feel for how it's gonna shake out. But they released that. They were really responsive, and they were a great guest for an AMA. They took it really seriously, and I think some of the major questions that were asked of them, one was, is there a potential this game's going to be delayed? And they were just like, hell no. They're like, this game's coming out. We are so excited to get this out. If you don't know about Scorn's development, it's been several years, lots of years. It started off maybe 8 years ago as kind of a concept, and they worked it, and they got people to kind of invest in it. At one point, they had showed it for PlayStation, and then Xbox came in and kind of hooked them up with the Game Pass deal, and we'll be getting that soon. So there's not really any news to share about that. Are you guys excited for Scorn? I will ask that because I know I'm getting more and more pumped for it as we get closer.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks interesting. I've been seeing more and more stuff come out that, because I thought from the E3 trailer shown a while back that it was like this first-person shooter, but no, it's supposedly a horror puzzle kind of, or a horror-themed kind of puzzle kind of game. So that's actually kind of was a little shocking to hear, but it looks great still.
Yeah, it looks out of this world, literally, right? But it looks just fantastic. My daughter is an art major, and I shared this with them when they were kind of talking with us, and she's been watching this game for like 2 years, longer than I have, because she's into the whole style they have going on. It's just this dark, gross, it looks like you're just playing, crawling through intestines. I can't even explain it. It's just this gnarly looking game.
Roach, what do you think? You excited for this game?
I don't know much about it except for the last trailer that they released, but I was just reading their AMA thread, and they were talking about how that they're releasing an art book. And any time that I see that some type of game title is releasing an art book of their game, usually I'm already intrigued, because if their game looks good enough for them to sell a book just based on the visuals from the game and not the gameplay, then I'm usually pretty into it. But I'm also an art junkie. I have a whole collection of video game art books on my shelves. So.
Yeah. You're gonna dig this, and they actually sent us over a preview of the art book, and it's just so fantastic. It's not the actual book, but it's just the images that they're going to be placing in it, and some of the text and description, and it's just this is an art game. This is a beautiful looking, very stylized game, and I'm excited to see how it lands. I hope
beautiful
the best
in
for 'em.
quotes.
Yes. Lots of the questions were like, "Did you guys like? Are you suicidal? Do you need to call something?" And I don't mean to joke about that, but they were just because they've been working in such a dark environment for 10 years, just staring at the stuff over and over, and the question was very serious when they asked them this, and they were just like, well, they kind of joked about the response. They're like, we're gonna go look at puppies and step outside for a while after this development cycle, because it has been it kind of weighed on him. You could tell, I think the lead artist even said there was something that made him puke, and I could have swore he was joking, but he seemed very serious in his response. He's like, there's something at the end. It made me throw up, and he's like, he couldn't spoil it for us, but he's like, once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I will say, maybe they should go play some Paparazzi, another Game Pass title to help lighten the mood.
They should have named that game Eye Bleach, and it would have done better.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, they even said like, yeah, they actually get nightmares. Somebody also asked like jokingly, I think, and then they were like, no, yeah, we actually, some of us do actually, and I was like, man, that's insane. That's some dedication right there.
It's worth noting that this isn't just a visual stylization; it's also the audio. They talked about the Foley and the sound effect artist, and also one of the crafter of the soundtrack has worked really industrial, kind of heavy. The kind of music you'd expect for this, but they've worked with Tool. I'm just so excited to check out everything about this game.
Did you say they made it for 10 years?
The development started ages ago.
Can you imagine making something, putting your life into something for 10 years, and then it just coming to an end? It's like, right, it's done now.
Slowly crafted it. Imagine spending that long in development on a game that takes 10 hours. That's why I'm really excited about this game. I think there's going to be such attention to detail in every little part of it. So high hopes for Scorn.
Yeah, the only other game I can think of with a development cycle like that was The Last Guardian. It was like 10 hours of development, but 10 years of development, but the game itself was really short. And it had some pretty flawed mechanics, but I think it did something pretty unique too. So
yeah, I was gonna say, you're bringing up a game that had some control flaws when I played it.
Yeah, I had to stop playing it because I couldn't do anything. Same. Yeah, but everything about the game except actually playing it was 10 out of 10.
I was gonna say, because when I was playing it, I handed it off to my then girlfriend, and well, you know how that turned out. That was the reason I broke up with her. You like this game?
Ruining relationships. The concept was good. The execution left some to be desired by the sounds of it. So that's terrifically funny.
And I didn't know that about Tool. One of the things I loved about Hellsinger is they had the lead singer of a System from a Down that did a whole level.
I haven't made it that level, but that makes me want to play more, man. I'm a huge fan.
There's some. So just to talk about that for a moment, every level is stylized with the different singer, including the challenges they do, which they call torments. So that singer will do the whole soundtrack for that level. And it's fantastic going throughout. So every level you get something different.
I didn't pick up on that. That makes sense though now. That wow. Okay. I'll be diving back into that.
I love it when they bring musicians in. Do you remember when Mike Patton did the voice from Faith No More for The Darkness?
Yeah.
He did the voice for the Beast and also some of the audio. It's incredible.
Huge fan of game music here, and I could go on and on about that. I want to pause right here because we brought up James Edwards. That's all I can see of your name. It's truncated, so if there's more, I'm sorry. But weigh in on anything we've been talking about. Did you want to talk about COD or any of the news this week?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I wanted to point out as far as the Modern Warfare 2 beta, this is more like a demo that we have. I mean, the game is about 40 days from release now. I don't think we can really expect any radical changes as far as the gameplay. And as far as the feedback we've been hearing from Infinity Ward, it sounds like they're pretty much set in their ways as far as the mini-map and the movement mechanics and what have you. They basically said this is just how it's going to be. So I think we should all be expecting what we have now to be pretty much the final product as far as the mechanics and the mini map and such, which is disappointing because a lot of us really want the classic mini map back, but I don't think they're gonna go back that way. This is something that we dealt with back in 2019 when Modern Warfare 2019 came out.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be changing the minimap. I brought up the example of Black Ops 4 because they did change the minimap mechanics. And, studios have been known to change the movement a little bit or change the TTK of weapons because of the beta. So they have made these changes before. But what's unique about Infinity Ward is they've come out and stated, and they've been very strong in their opinion, that the minimap thing is basically here to stay. And if 2019's Modern Warfare was any indication, it's the best-selling it's the best-selling Call of Duty in the last few years. And Modern Warfare 2 is probably going to replicate that. So they'll just get reassured that the decision they made is correct. When there's probably other reasons that we love the game, though, too, because it's just the best-looking COD. Vanguard, to me, kind of, not to put Sledgehammer in a bad spot, kind of look like garbage in comparison to every other Call of Duty out there.
Just to put it lightly, it was total trash. Just kidding.
Well, it was like, what? Wait, what's the? It was a total step back to last generation graphics.
Yep.
And it was still fun because you brought up the pace about it at one point. Cork, you mentioned that it was faster paced, and that's because they had the blitz and the assault modes where they just threw way more people into the map. You had these like 16v16 game modes or stuff, and it was just insane. But Call of Duty is probably not changing. Infinity Ward they are the premier Call of Duty team, so whatever they say, they believe in wholeheartedly.
And maybe the premier first-person shooter team. They do it over and over again. They just know how to craft a great multiplayer game. So I feel like you bring up a few good points, and it feels like we're talking a lot of Call of Duty this week. But with the beta coming out, and it's obviously just a huge title every year. It's worth discussing. It does feel like there's things that are polarizing, though. We talked about the slower game pace, and that's not for everybody. Like James Edwards is bringing up here, the mini map. Some people love it, some people don't like it, and it seems like it's kind of a tough spot for them. They have to kind of commit to the way they want their game to play, and they're going to have to kind of ignore that criticism or the people that are not happy with some of the decisions. And we'll just have to see how it lands here shortly here. Do we have a release date for that? Is it the 21st or late October?
28th, October
28th.
Yeah.
It's a Friday.
So if you guys are watching your October release calendar, it's busy. We have Scorn. We have Tales from Borderlands. We have the Gotham game. What's the name of that game? I always forget. Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights. That's so easy. How can I forget that? We also have Call of Duty, and I'm sure I'm missing a ton of other ones. And that's ignoring Game Pass and everything they try to torture us with by increasing our backlog. It seems like every 2 weeks, which they do. So great time to be a gamer and just so much to play. So Kevin, you're the last person that hasn't picked a story this week. Is there anything left on the wheel of stories that looks good to discuss?
Yeah, before that, I do want to read some chats or some comments here. R41 in regards, I think, to Scorn, small dev team, and started via Kickstarter. So that was something interesting. I didn't know it got started via Kickstarter.
That is true, yes.
And then RS Games said, I never saw Scorn more as a shooter. Whatever gun they used in the gameplay seemed limited and powered by design. I was getting Metroid Prime vibes in terms of sheer atmosphere.
There we go.
So there we go. Just wanted to call out some people commenting. Yeah, if you guys don't feel comfortable calling up, go ahead. Shoot some comments down below. We'll try and read and get to everyone, all of them that we can. For topics, I guess, there's two still left, I think, that are pretty big ones. Earlier today, the GTA 6 hacker was possibly caught. So it was actually announced that I guess they have somebody in custody, 17-year-old Manchester kid that, they found him.
Sorry, I'm laughing, and the people made the same dumb joke all day today. Does he have 5 stars? Why didn't he go change the paint job on his car? Why didn't he dive into the ocean and outswim the police? And I still laugh at it. Like, it's just so... it's just a wild story. So who wants to... Go ahead and recap this since you picked it, Kevin. Tell us what went down.
He respawned outside the police station after being caught. There's tons of them. So originally, this happened, I was about to go to bed, and all of a sudden I just started getting messages and stuff in my Discord about this, people sending over links, and I was like, wait, what's going on right now? And I was like, this is kind of this is pretty suspect, like. But then he started posting like source code, and I was like, oh wait, so what happened at like 1 a.m., 12 o'clock my time, I was up till like 4 a.m. watching this live just unfold. And yeah, it was a crazy, crazy story. Did you guys talk about this last week? I don't know. I was
No.
away.
No.
So yeah.
I think it broke after our show. So yeah, this is
Okay.
all new this week.
Yeah. So basically, the timeline, just a real quick timeline. Yeah, I guess it ended up turning out that I guess he hacked someone's Slack account, one of the employees, or got their passwords or something, and I guess infiltrated via that way, got more passwords, and was just able to download about roughly 90 videos of in development stuff for GTA 6, and was just like, screw it. Here they all are. And then all of a sudden, yeah, it just blew up like wildfire. He even said, he was like, "Oh, I didn't expect this to blow up." And it's like, well, what do you think is going to happen if
Right, he went to
you start
bed.
posting-
He put it on Twitter
Like-
and he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll just go to sleep." What's the worst? Like he was like that Family Guy episode where Brian tweets out when he goes into the movie. If you're familiar with that show, but anyway, he must have woken up and just been like, like,
Yeah.
oh, no.
Well, he didn't know. did he?
dumbest
Because
smart hacker ever.
Yeah, because he didn't know, because he woke up and then tried to blackmail Rockstar Games for $100,000, didn't he?
Oh, that was a bad move, wasn't it?
Yeah. So then, yeah, what ended up happening is, yeah, he ended up coming out and he was like, but what was ridiculous though is he's like, I have source code for 5 figures. And I was
Yeah,
like,
5
dude,
figures,
source code
that's it.
for 5 figures, that's it? Especially source code that's probably so heavily ingrained into Grand Theft Auto Online that you
Yeah.
can pretty much ruin that whole online service for 5 figures. Are you kidding me? So that's where, again, the dumbest smart hacker thing comes back into play.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then I guess somebody went and bought it for, it got started passing around that they sold it for 100K. And this is great because it was somebody who set up a fake blockchain and was like, yeah, I'm the hacker, pay me 100K and I'll give it to you. And it was just a totally fake account. So someone just gave away $100,000 Bitcoin,
And
$100,000
I'm
of
just
Bitcoin
gonna say it,
to a random stranger.
like congrats and props to that person who scammed somebody trying to do something illegal and made out scot-free probably. So I if they made away with $100,000, that's, I want the movie. I want to watch it.
Yeah, and then so eventually, yeah, that all happened. It kind of died down. Rockstar, I guess, had a statement that they came out. They're saying no, nothing, no delays, nothing. I guess it ended up turning out the last time I read that he actually didn't have the source code. He was just saying he did, or he has like 10,000 lines of it, of the new game, the GTA 6, but I guess he didn't have the GTA 5. So things are still kind of shaky on what was real. Once his name got out there, a bunch of fake accounts started coming out. A bunch of people was like, I know this guy. He's from India. And then, is this the same hacker? And it's like, no, it's just a whole bunch of different things. But so far, that was basically the gist of what I've given. It was what has been actually confirmed of what happened so far.
I mean,
but yeah, crazy story.
The gravity of that situation for Rockstar is that if he did have the source code for GTA 5, that's like $1 billion industry for them. That game.
Yeah.
It tanked their stock a little bit, and it's not a question of like, is it going to hurt sales of Grand Theft Auto 6? It's just more of a, well, if you guys are like this lax of your security, what else are you going to screw up kind of thing, So these things have real financial implications, not just for Rockstar, for Rockstar's investors, or I should say Take-Two. It's just kind of, it snowballs. So, a 17-year-old who saw too many movies.
17.
Yeah.
17.
This is I'm still
he's
not,
like 10 miles. He's like 10 miles down the road from me.
Yeah, go.
Like I can see Manchester City Centre from my window.
Right, it could have been you, Anthony. Why weren't you hacking Grand
I was
Theft Auto?
going to say, Moko, how old are you again, bud?
But it just not 17. But it's just it just shocked me that, I mean, he's obviously just a naive, like he's got no sense of what he's done. He probably thinks it's like war games, right? It's cool to just get in and
war games,
grab this media. Yeah, that shows my age, right? But the videos themselves were really cool. Like I watched them, and it was super interesting to watch for me. That sort of where they had still had all the data on the screen from like the dev tools, and it was showing the trajectory. It reminded me of when they released that Indiana Jones footage. Do you remember the Indiana Jones game where he was just the character and he was doing all the moves and it was showing you all the stuff? That was super interesting to see. I don't think it ruined the game. I don't think it's ruined the game. No, for me, it didn't show enough.
A few interesting points are that other developers rallied around this. They were like, this is early footage. This is what our game looked like when we were at that point in development. Because some people were dragging this. You're like,
Yes.
that looks like garbage. Oh, this is terrible, which is
It looks like GTA 5.
yeah, which is
4,
ridiculous.
5.
So a lot of prominent developers came out and defended them, and that's good to see some unity in the scene, just to kind of say like, hey, like it takes a while for games, because the internet is just so quick to judgment, and that's why this is really could be detrimental, or people are just start hammering it because. We've talked about the people nitpicking before because the fruits don't explode right or the tires don't deflate right, that kind of thing.
Which I couldn't believe. I started looking at the footage and I might have gone to that suspicious link.
You didn't leak it. I mean, once it's out there, it's out there. So,
well, you got to be careful even when you're downloading it. So I looked through them, and just the nightclub, the city club, or not city club, the nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
The character in there was so much going on. The game was so dense at that point. Just walking up a staircase that's not a block, that doesn't block everything behind it. A staircase that you can actually see through with some lights going on, multiple different colored light ray tracing. It wasn't ray tracing necessarily, but these lights were coming down. The crowd density was insane. They weren't all just standing there. They were all moving. A lot of people seem to overlook a lot of that. And then when I looked at like the car collision on a bridge was one of the videos I looked at, the way it crunched into the wall it kind of reminded me of, I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's some car physics game called BG Beam or something. Somebody else will probably correct me in the comments and go, how do you not know what it's called? But it looked very realistic, much more realistic than, just the hood coming off. Or a door coming off. Some of the cars in previous GTAs did nothing. So to see the car physics, they were intense. They were way better. And this is all early game footage. So this game looked incredible from my standpoint. And to see the people out there talking poorly about it, like, what are you guys talking about? How? You looking at the same thing? Like, this
Not
looks
only
great.
that, there were people saying it wasn't. So people were seeing that. And I went onto the Reset Area forums, and people were saying it was fake, or it was definitely not GTA 6, and it was all.
There's people that still think it's fake. They think Rockstar planted this. They think Rockstar created this whole fake scenario with a fake crime. Like, you can't fake being hacked. That's a crime.
Yeah.
You can't fake being blackmailed. That's a crime. It's like
especially where even RS Games again said market value dipped for Rockstar 2000 ? After the leak. So yeah, this is something that would have dire especially if they're saying our source code is out there. Like, there is no way a company would be that stupid to fake that.
Right. So it was just incredible, the negativity coming around this game, and from what I saw, it looked like a good game.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I mean, some of that footage, they said it was from 2019, right? It's going to be amazing. It's going to look amazing.
Yes.
I like the setup. I like the two protagonists. I like that we're getting a female and a male lead. The early rumors were that there is a love story kind of a thing happening here, which could get a little weird, but I think it could also be spectacular with the way that Rockstar is great at cutscenes and telling a story. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm in. I'm not deterred by this. I thought what I saw looked great, and I'm excited as can be.
We'll all be playing GTA 6. Guaranteed.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Like I said, I've seen the videos as well, and everything I was looking at, I was like, okay, I can kind of see like it, but like I said, the little details are what were really shocking for something that far along or that early on. Was actually pretty amazing to see. Yeah, I think the videos ranged from what I've saw for the timestamps 2019 to like September 5th or something like that. So there was a wide range of stuff that he was able to pull off, but it looked amazing. I can't wait. I mean, yeah, some things got leaked. I won't leak them out, like the setting, like where it's supposed to be. That's out there. If you guys want to go find it, go ahead. But yeah, somebody already like extrapolated using Google Maps and landmarks and everything in the videos of where it's actually going to be.
You have to love nerds, and I'm happy to be one.
Of course they did. Of course they
did. It is out there. I think I see Mikey Googling it right now.
I mean, but you know it's going to be a major metropolitan location with some sort of like beachfront and all this other stuff.
They will find
like
it.
That's GTA. So you know, that's what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's out there. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Just watching it happen live was actually kind of surreal at the time because nobody knew what was going on.
I mean,
I think Jason Schreier was like, "Come on," because he's on maternity leave. So he was like, all this stuff leaked while he was on maternity leave. But yeah, everyone was just getting. It was interesting to see.
That's in the chat. RS Games in the chat's put the market value did dip for Rockstar after the leak. I mean, what's going to happen to this kid? You know. What
it's interesting. A lot of people are speculating. I don't know. You know UK law better than any of us. Why are you asking us? We should be asking you. I don't know what the age of is 17 considered an adult. How do they handle that?
I don't think so. No, yeah. It would be juvenile. But I mean, I just are Rockstar going to throw the bucket in? Are they going to how far are they going to go with it?
It's a tough one. I don't know. Someone of that age, when I was 17, I thought I knew everything in the world, but looking back at it, I clearly did not. And I have a little bit of sympathy for him. Probably thought it was a cool idea. He had no idea how much trouble he could be in, and tough life lesson, and unfortunate all around for him, for Rockstar, for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched it, but I felt dirty watching it. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. But, I guess, I'm going to see it in comments anyway, just everything that we moderate and do all that stuff. So it's just, it is what it is. It wasn't the only leak this week. We did, I actually didn't include this in the news, but we had a Diablo 4 beta leak, which was kind of hysterical to me because, like, when somebody just streamed it, they just went on Twitch and they're like, oh, here we go. And, like, people are watching it and you can hear the comments on there and they're just like, what is he playing? They're like, is this Diablo 4? Like they kind of like realize what's happening as he's played it, and they're just like, is it Diablo 4? And they recorded it, of course. And if you go out there and look,
how did he have access to How did he have access?
Was he, friends and family access. So, but the thing is, Blizzard is very good about marking their games with watermarks and identifying artifacts in the video. So whoever did it will also probably pay the piper.
Man.
Someone's kid got their dad or mom fired.
That could very well be it.
Yeah. Actually, this whole week was like nothing but leaks. I don't know if you guys saw the real insider ended up outing himself. For those that know.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about this story.
He Kevin Duranted himself.
It was ridiculous. So for those that don't know, there's a guy on Twitter that just came out of left field, out of nowhere, probably in the last 2 months, month or so, that was leaking like Assassin's Creed stuff before it hit. Even got like into an argument with Jason Schreier where like he made him look kind of stupid. That's who ended up finding out who it was and outing him. It was crazy, but basically he forgot to switch out of his leaker account and was still logged into his YouTuber or like his content creator account. I was waiting for it. I was like, and he answered a question that under his actual real account, and I'm pretty sure he is gonna get paid the piper as well for how much stuff how many NDAs he broke.
I love how petty Jason Schreier was.
We can get into that too. That has a whole nother level of kind of just petty garbage reality TV trash. But
Jason, of all people who should punish a leaker, should shut the heck up. Leak the entire Fallout 4 storyline.
Absolutely. Apparently they had some beef, and Jason had called the leaker kind of full of it when he leaked some of the Assassin's Creed details, and they had a little back and forth and didn't go real well, and he got real petty with it and was right there to verify the identity of the leaker. It was Dan. I don't know his name. You can look up the story, and it's definitely
Dan Good Gaming or something like that.
Yeah. Somebody who I was kind of familiar with. Like I've seen him around a few times, so it was a way to cancel yourself over just something stupid and petty, man.
Well, didn't he called out some Assassin's Creed stuff? Shreya said no, it was bull.
Yeah,
and then it turned out to be right, so it showed Shreya up.
Right. Which obviously probably hurt his pride.
he even added an extra layer to it. And yeah, after he already like, because yeah, Schreier's like, no, this guy's full of it, and he was like, oh, trust me, you're going to be apologizing, or I want my apology later when this is right. And then it ended up being, and then Schreier was like, oh, actually, you are right. It looks like they're calling it by a different code name or something. But yeah, it was like total level of pettiness and just kind of made Schreier look like an idiot. And then ever since then, he just had that vendetta for him.
Jason Schreier should not, like I said, should not be talking about leakers. He absolutely ruined Fallout by leaking the entire storyline when he got his exclusive access and he felt it was his
Thank
you.
duty to report it.
How was he allowed to? How was he allowed to publish that and get away with it at the time?
No idea. He had someone come forward to him.
Yeah.
But at that point, every complaint you make in the future about similar practices, it's void. It's moot. Like it's hypocritical to come out. I get where you're coming from to now be like, oh, you shouldn't be leaking stuff. Like, dude, like,
and even right before the Xbox. One other thing I want to say about him, even right before the Xbox Bethesda showcase, he came out and said, well, don't expect, was it a Fable or was it Avowed? He came out and said Avowed. He said don't expect it, and it's been through multiple reboots. And then he deleted his comment and then came out and said, well, I didn't want news outlets to run with it. What do you mean? You work for Bloomberg. You are a news outlet. You're literally reporting something that nobody knew.
I don't know how many Twitter followers he has, but he's pretty well known in gaming journalism. Like, I would say one of the top guys out there. And yeah, like anything you tweet, like he's gonna be like, oh, that was just for my friends. Like, I don't know what he was thinking or kind of ridiculous thought process he had. But
maybe by now everyone that follows him is only his friend because he blocks everyone that disagrees with him.
This is true too, man. We're not going to turn this into a roast.
Sorry, do a Schreier show, the Schreier show. But it just shows the level of hypocrisy. It's not about the leak. It's not the fact that he was leaking. It's the fact that he embarrassed him. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's what I think it's kind of great on one level. It's so petty. It's great.
To Jason's credit, he kind of owned his pettiness. He's like, yeah, don't mess with a dad with too much time on his hands or something. And he laid out the stalking he did, because he really was like, it's just it was a whole nother level, man. So
what's the fallout? What's the fallout for the YouTuber since? I've not followed the story.
Deleted Twitter, deleted all accounts, like just
I think he brought back his irregular one to make an announcement saying, I'm so ashamed and I'm so sorry. I let all of you guys down. He didn't apologize to like Ubisoft or anybody, by the way. He didn't say, I'm so sorry for everyone that put their trust in me. None of that. He was just like, I'm sorry to everybody. I'm disappointed. This will never happen again. I was like, yeah, because you're probably going to be broke pretty soon after all the lawyer fees. But
I think he deleted the apology even after he'd put that out. And you know what? Find a new hobby, because you're going to have a hard time falling back into gaming. Start talking about fantasy football or something. So
yeah,
let's
I do want to say thank you, Thrasher13. It is Dan Allen Gaming.
There we go.
Was the name of the account.
Yeah, but you can't find it anymore because he self-vaporized. So I'm going to turn it to something lighter. And while we have Roach up here, I wanted to talk about Slime Rancher 2, because I am a huge fan of the first Slime Rancher.
Yes, we had our Call of Duty moment.
Thank you. We've done the Call of Duty and the Grand Theft Auto.
Talking about all the first-person shooters.
Let's get to the hardcore part of this podcast. And how much time have you had to play it? What do you think about it? Give us everything you got.
I played about 2 hours today. It feels so good. It honestly it's even though it's early access, it feels already the same quality as the first game. And I was very, very late on the first game because I didn't play it until it was on Game Pass. So, but there's, of course, there's new slimes. The game has like a light story to it. So if you haven't played the first one, doesn't matter. You can play the first or the second, any order you want, as far as I can tell. But it's a beautiful game, and it's so colorful and fun, but also kind of slightly dark because you can kill your slimes and stuff too. So, yeah, I kind of yeet them into the sunset and watch them drown in the sea when I don't need them anymore.
That's how it happens. You are ranching the slimes. It's not all; they're not your pets all the time. So
there is a game out there where it's like Pokemon, and you actually can farm them and turn them into your food source. I'm trying to remember what it was,
Talking
but
about
there's
that.
something out there like that. Yeah, it's morbid.
Pikachu's.
Pikachu stew, I'm telling you.
Very well done. I do want to say, I guess Slime Rancher 2 sells 100,000 units in less than 6 hours. Nick Popovich, who is the co-founder of the studio and CEO, was it Monomi
You got
Park?
it? Yep.
I had a pipe dream in my head that we could sell 100,000 copies of Slime Rancher 2 in the first 24 hours if the stars aligned, and we did that in less than 6 hours.
So
No idea where this crazy train is headed, but so grateful to have a chance to write it. Thank you all very much. So that's kind of something nice.
yeah, extra impressive
Yeah.
because we have a Game Pass release here, which doesn't equate to sales, but obviously they were compensated for that. We had a news release today that they love Game Pass. We've heard this from many developers. It made their situation so much better. It changes the way that people can develop games. There's no pressure on them. Not no pressure, but it takes a lot of the pressure off them about creating a game, often without funding, working long hours. We've heard it. We've heard the grind and the crunch and bigger studios even, but the basic takeaway here is that Game Pass lets them create the game they want to on their own schedule, and make sure that it matches their vision. They don't feel the need to rush it out, and that's why we're getting an early access preview of this game. A couple interesting points. Go ahead. I hear somebody.
I was just saying, the actual quote, I think, if I remember correctly, was that to go on Game Pass was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think that was a quote from him, which is interesting.
Previous
And
Game Pass participant, so it's not like they're new to Game Pass. Slime Rancher 1 also did the Game Pass tour. One note about the style of this game is they said when they created when they created the first Slime Rancher, they wanted there to be moments of intensity and chaos. Things could go a little haywire and get your heart rate up. And what they found out is that people were playing Slime Rancher not for that. People were playing Slime Rancher for that Stardew Valley vibe, that chill. They just want to relax. So when they were developing and creating this game, they really wanted to focus on that chill and that relax. And I haven't had enough time to dive deep into it, but what I've played, like Roach was saying, is beautiful. It's got that chill vibe. You want to put on some tea on like a Sunday morning and just kind of kick back with something that's not, a little
Does
less
this
intense.
appeal to you? Does this appeal? I mean, I played Slime Rancher 1 for a little while.
Sure.
But is it that kind of? I know you're a big Viva Pinata fan. Is it that kind of vibe? Is it when where you're curating something and
a very similar vibe for sure. You're collecting critters, if you will. You're collecting slimes, pulling them up and ranching them, collecting resources from them, which gives you different perks, which allows you to unlock different areas of the land, a little bit of a Metroidvania type of thing. This isn't a game that's going to jump off the screen at you. If you didn't hear about the hype, you probably wouldn't want to check it out, but it's on Game Pass. And another note is there's no achievements right now, so Mikey, sorry, you can check it out later. They'll patch those in. And then...
I already Googled that, don't worry. I'm not even kidding. Thinking about playing the first one now, but I only have 7 days to complete it.
Oh, God. That's great.
No chance.
It might have been a Games of Gold. You might want to check on that. But those will be patched in eventually as we get later into access. That's how these early access games go. So final impressions, Roach. Is this game you're going to stick with, or do you like it a lot?
Yeah, I've only played it a couple hours, and so I'm just excited to see what the new content's going to be like, even if it just feels the same, but it's a different land exploration or whatever. I'm okay with that. The first one was really great. It was one of the few games where I was trying to get 100% achievement, just because it was fun to do so. And I actually double dipped. My partner bought me a copy of it on Steam, but I'm just one of those people where if I play a game on Game Pass and I like it, I go and buy it because I just want to support the devs and I don't have to worry about leaving Game Pass. Yeah,
I love that.
Cool.
I've done that for quite a few games for the
Talking about early access, and Roach mentioned it before. Grounded went gold this week.
It did.
I've not played Grounded, but I've only heard great things about it.
It's good.
So
I haven't even played the newer stuff. I played it right when it came out, and I spent like a weekend sucked into it. And so I'm super excited to see what the 1.0 update is going to be like, because if it was like that at the very beginning, it's just going to be amazing. when the full game
played,
releases.
You played it right from the beginning, did you? When it was released on the
Yeah, I
preview.
played it pretty heavily for like a few days straight, and then I kind of stopped. So I haven't really played the newer updates for it, but I'm really excited for the full release to come out in a few days. I'm not sure how I'm going to juggle all the games that I just recently started, but I'll figure it out.
You're gonna have to clone yourself, just like the rest of us.
Yeah,
There's a serious Game Pass problem. We've talked about
It is.
I can't remember how you say it. Clobril. I'm just
Clobril. I go with Clobril, but I know who you're talking about. Famous, well-known Xbox Twitter community member. Go ahead.
He tweeted out this month that we've gotten $500 worth of games in Game Pass this month alone, and it's been insane trying to. Because you see so many things come out, and you're like, I want to touch that, I want to play it. And as a completionist, it really sucks because now I have to kind of pick and choose because I don't want to just touch something and know I'm never going to come back.
Yeah. We've not even talked about Deathloop really tonight, but that's a AAA title for me.
Oh, I haven't even played Deathloop yet. I downloaded it and I want to get into it. But yeah, that's you know what Game Pass is doing really well too is it's hitting across the board. It's not just one genre. Like they really do have everything on there. And
yeah,
I know that we still see complaints in the comments and the subreddits of where's the AAA title? I'm not mocking anyone that feels that way, even though I put on my goofy voice. But it's just there's just so much content, man. Even if you're still go buy your AAA titles and then have Game Pass as your supplement.
Sorry, but I'm going to say it's a shit take. So you have every right to make fun of it and criticize it. It's a horrible console war take. So please make fun of it all you want.
Thank you. For
I am for it.
Me.
But the AAAs are coming. They're coming. I feel it. I sense it. There's going to be a huge drop in the next 12 months.
Oh my gosh. I mean, once we get into the Starfield territory and if we happen to have Activision Blizzard by then and get into Diablo and call it's over with. Yeah, I'm so excited.
we're going to be drowning.
I'm already drowning. This is like the world's going to be exploding. Like there's nothing left.
These next 3 months are just going to be ridiculous with how many games that's going to come to Game Pass, especially stuff that's not like Harry Potter, Gotham Knights. I mean, there's just so much on the table right now. It's a good time to be a gamer.
Great time for Xbox gamers, especially. I think a lot of positive things are happening over here, so I would totally agree. Major Nelson on the Xbox dashboard says, you can't have your blades back. Sorry, y'all.
I love that response.
I saw that. Larry being Larry.
Yeah, I had Larry behind the scenes one time, and he when people wanted Black Ops to come back through backwards compatibility, and he behind the scenes, he was just like, we don't control that. Again, we keep telling everybody it's the publisher. He was like, so his response, he's very he likes to come back at people like that. It was a very good response by him. I loved it.
The blades were great though. The blades were great. It's a shame that they won't revisit them. They worked for me at the time.
I see it. They say that's not where they want to go. It's not matching their vision for Xbox, and we have all the controversy over the dashboard redesign and all that. But one of the frequent requests is, "Hey, bring back blades. It was so simple," and they're like, "Nope, we don't want to do that." And I get it. I understand why they don't, but at the same time, I do have to admire and still appreciate the simplicity of the blades. I can still see it working with your Game Pass tab, your games, your store, your.
I can still hear them. I can still hear the swoosh.
The whoosh, whoosh.
Actually, just bring back the swoosh. That would go some way.
I mean, who didn't just like rocket that analog back and forth and just do that like 30 times for no good reason?
Sorry for the sound effects, but I was remembering it too.
Your little classic gamer pick and the orange blade, the green blade. It was stupid simple, but it was kind of like leading the pack back then. PlayStation 2 was in a bad spot.
Do you guys remember your gamer picture? What it was?
I had the panda. And my little quote was "eats, shoots, and leaves."
See, I was the guy that bought the MLG packs, so I always had an MLG pack that I bought. So it said like MLG or like Slayer or something in it because I was trying to be cool.
Oh yeah, I feel like I had at some point I bought the Detroit Lion one because they started doing all those marketing deals and no way to walk around and be like, hey, I'm a loser, then roll around with a Detroit Lion helmet on your profile. But
hey, 0-17, just like your Call of Duty, KD.
And I would go into games with that on, and people would be like, "Oh, dude, I feel so bad for you." But let's not get into sports. But it was pretty funny. Yeah, those were good times, man. But sorry, the blades are not coming back.
I did bring up RS Games. Welcome. You've been pretty active in the chat.
Hello.
Comments.
Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Hey. Yeah. I was just before I forgot. Like Roach brought up a great thing about how if you like a game on Game Pass, you just buy it. So I've done that a couple times for things like Slay the Spire, and some games like was it Lonely something Mountain? I forget the name, but it's that biking one where you go downhill. And you know what I end up doing a lot is buy it on the Switch, even just because I tested on Game Pass, then I go and buy it on the Switch. I know it's not ideal for Xbox, but it's still great for me. So I was just wondering what kind of games you guys have bought just because of Game Pass.
Great question, man. I love you. This is a really good topic. Have you guys ever paid for a game that's been on Game Pass because you want to support it?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Moonglow Bay.
Good.
Is a classic example of me doing that because I just love that game so much.
So I have a slightly different take. I have purchased a few games, but because they're leaving Game Pass, and I know I want to get them, so I've gotten them with that 10% discount.
Yep.
And I know I could have gotten them when they're on sale, but I did this with Kingdom Come, which I'm playing right now, and my weekly plug, one of the best RPGs I've ever played. So I bought it before it left Game Pass, finally getting around to it. I did it with Control, which is probably another big game that's up and coming that I'm going to play through. And I did it with the Metro series when Exodus was leaving Game Pass. So I buy games that I know I would love and play. I haven't bought a ton of them that I've been, because I play so many games. I don't want to buy every single one. That's again why, I get Game Pass. I don't feel guilty to people who can't afford it because Microsoft does compensate them well. But if you want that game to stay in your catalog, it's always a great idea to get it. And I've gotten a few games that way. So do you support them, Moko? Do you have time? I know you're also a completionist, so you don't want to buy every game like me.
I bought Control actually, like you did.
Oh, there you go.
But only because I hadn't finished it at the time, so it was leaving. I missed the completion, so I bought the game. I bought DLCs, so I bought the Forza Horizon DLCs.
That's a good point too, though. I'm not just buying the games, but a lot of reasons that people bring games to Game Pass is to sell the extended content. Yeah. So buying DLCs is an awesome way to support a title.
So The Ascent is a perfect example of that. Absolute killer Game Pass game. But the DLC just dropped, and it's like a £8 for me. DLC.
Hey, I think it's $1 now. So I think we're even.
It was
Lord Sean said, "Yeah, exactly. I bought Kingdom as well right before it left. So you weren't the only one, Mikey."
Is it not the greatest game you ever played, or do you hate it?
You two, we've got Kingdom with Mikey and the Ascent with Anthony. Like you guys are pining for these. Meanwhile, I'm Viva Pinata, but I love that we all have our pet games.
Sorry, Roach, what did you say?
Are we talking about Kingdom New Lands?
No, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Mike, you've been playing this all week, haven't you?
I've been playing it for a while. I think I've got something like well over 40 hours into it.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just said sorry.
No, that's good. Kingdom New Lands. Let's talk about Kingdom New Lands though. This is a game that I bought to support from Game Pass, so that's funny that you mentioned that. Also, that's For the King. Name. Yeah, go ahead. What's that?
I was just saying, Kingdom New Lands. I almost hear no one talk about it. It's such a fantastic game.
That's not even on my radar. I haven't heard of that game.
Give us a quick synopsis. Give us your quick review.
Oh God. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's a side-scrolling base building game and pixel art. And if someone told me that, I'd be like, ugh, that sounds boring. But it isn't, and it's so addicting. It's one of those games. It's like Civilization, right? You start it, and you're like, I'm only gonna play it for a few hours. And then 10 hours later, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, and
is this the co-op version of New Land? Or sorry.
No, it's a little bit tower defense. You start with the city and you get coins from mobs. It really has just a great mechanic. It's a really beautiful game too for being pixel art. So
I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, kind of sidetracked.
I did play Kingdom New Lands. I knew I had heard
There you
about
go.
it. I have multiple hours on Steam.
Yeah.
And you play too much when you can't remember games.
Well,
that
there's
you
a
played.
lot of Kingdom games out there. When I was mentioning games, I said I paid for Kingdom and for the King, which is a totally different game, and it's
I mean, when you search Kingdom on Game Pass, you get Jurassic Park, Kingdom Come Deliverance, you get 3 Kingdoms, like you get like everything else comes up besides Kingdom New Lands.
Romance in the 3 Kingdoms.
That is the Xbox search feature, which it needs a very massive update.
Hey, they did improve that a little bit. I don't know how we're standing with that, but I know there was an update that they made that better, so we'll have to check it out. Splinter Cell, the remake, will get an update that the game story is going to be for modern audiences, and the internet predictably went internet on this. I'm not even going to touch on it too much. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to be woke and it's going to suck, and it's not what they're saying. I don't know where I hate this narrative that's out there. I hate these people that always come in on these types of stories and they make the same tired joke. They're like, oh, Samantha Fisher now. I'm just like, guys, I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't track that well.
Samantha Fisher.
Why did
I do want to give? I do want to give credit to the PS5 mods. This is where I saw it, and that's where like a lot of like the vitriol and bigotry and all that stuff. I do want to say a quick shout out to them. Thank you for making that post in the comments saying they're done with this. They're not going to allow this anymore. They took a pretty quick stand in the PS5 subreddit when that happened. So kudos to them for standing up for that bigotry or standing up against that bigotry. So good job on them.
Yes, and I can easily say it was our most moderated post of the week because so many users out there just cannot resist going for that low-hanging fruit, I guess, and we'll just leave it at that. But personally, just let's get to the story and the meat of the potato. Oh, go ahead, Mikey.
So I was cringe facing, and I want it to be known that it wasn't because I'm against it for being woke or anything like that. This dates back to like 2012 when the last mainline Splinter Cell came out, and they brought out the voice actor Eric Johnson. They replaced Michael Ironside and did a new actor so he could do the body motions with it. So when I heard that they were going to update it for a modern storyline, I just heard that they were going to reuse Sam Fisher again without Michael Ironside, and I got super sad again. So that was my beef with it. I just got flashbacks to 10 years ago going, oh no, they're going to mess up Splinter Cell again.
No.
Had nothing to do with being woke. I don't even care.
There was a lot of legitimate, great conversation that happened in there, but I just did a search on YouTube, and even the top videos are just kind of vile to me. Splinter Cell is going woke. Woke Reddit has meltdown over Splinter Cell remake criticism. Bans everyone from PS5. Like, people are just going off the... It's a goddamn video game, guys, and pardon my language, but it's just... What's the story of the week?
What's the main beef? What was the main problem? That it's a female protagonist?
No, they didn't say it's a female
protagonist.
No, they didn't updating it for modern times, for a modern audience.
That's it.
And that was
a modern audience. That was it.
And people took that and just made assumptions.
Just people can't be trusted with anything. It's just disheartening.
It's rough. So we did our best to clean that up and to keep the conversation on topic and to dump those 80 users that, like I said, had to make that same joke. I think we can move on from that. It upsets me. I wish that people could behave in a better manner, but it is what it is.
Mikey, I will say there was rumors that Ironside was returning. Because back in 2016, 2017, there was somebody that I think we've talked about this before, like a few podcasts ago, a while back, that they saw him coming into the studio or something, I think over at Ubisoft or something like that. They pretty much saw him coming into the studio to do something, and supposedly, but it never got followed up on. So I don't take that for what it is. I don't know exactly, take it with a grain of salt, but supposedly he is supposed to be returning. But that was just all rumors.
That would be good, because my main concern is I think I can say this word, the bastardization of the character Sam Fisher. That I don't want to see. I don't want to see somebody else replace him again, because they did the same thing with the Ghost Recon story. They had another voice actor for that. Just use Michael Ironside, even if Sam Fisher, and it doesn't make any sense for this 65-year-old, 70-year-old to be Indiana Jones spy. He can take a back seat and maybe be the guy in your ear talking to you the whole time. Get a new guy in there that can carry the franchise forward. Just hopefully it's someone with a unique voice. It's not somebody like the same voice we hear every single time from like Troy Baker, who I think did Dying Light. I reference this because Dying Light 2, they got a new voice actor that sounds exactly like Troy Baker for their next character. It's like everyone's kind of got that generic voice nowadays, and I just make it special. That's my only ask.
Just get Nolan North like everyone does. Just Nolan North for everything.
I will say that this is you're not alone, Mikey. I saw this comment up and down that thread as well, which was on topic and much better than the other comments. But I kind of floated the theory out there. You know, I like your idea. I like maybe having Ironside back as like the you know as the voice in your ear kind of thing. You know, he doesn't have to be out there. He's old now, but I also saw suggested, you know, kind of like an old Clint Eastwood movie, you know, like he comes back and he's old, back to where it began, and he's like 70 years old and nothing left to lose. Maybe he's coughing up a little blood. And if you don't know, Michael Ironside is a 2-time cancer survivor now. He's in his 70s, and if he has, you know, that gritty kind of raspy voice, could really play with that if he wanted to bring it back. There's a lot of different ways for him to go that aren't Samantha Fisher. Let's put it that way.
Oh, a Logan vibe would be good. Logan's a movie that I was still crying walking out of the movie theater, so I would love to see something like that for Sam Fisher.
There you go.
The Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
Mikey, actually. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you mean the Wolverine movie?
Yeah.
Like Logan.
Logan.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's
I
supposed to be
haven't
really...
seen it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I shouldn't have told you I cried walking out. Now you know.
Oh,
They were tears of joy. Wolverine has like, you know, like 3
I was
kids
so happy to see him survive at the end.
That was
But I thought that was part of his shtick. He could. Oh, forget it.
The movie explains it, and it's also in the comics. It was true to lore.
There's a whole series called The End, where it's just pretty much Marvel killing the characters. So
I'm just
glad like
they
Punisher,
didn't.
Daredevil.
You're ruining everything for me.
I'm just glad they didn't do the Hulk bit in the Logan storyline. That would have been a little gross.
Mikey, to follow up, it was a NeoGAF post, I guess, over in 2016 from a source, anonymous source. So, I mean, already kind of iffy. But regarding other games, I haven't been involved with Steep or Wildlands, but was surprised Splinter Cell didn't appear at E3. I know Ironside is back. He was in the studio. I said hi to him and his daughter. He was shooting a movie with Amy Jo Johnson, and I know someone that worked on the set. And Ironside confirmed to him he was doing the new Splinter Cell.
So
that was in 2016.
The Pink Power Ranger? Is that right? Is that Amy Jo Johnson?
I guess so.
Like the OG Pink Power Ranger? I think that's right, man. I might have it wrong. It's been a long time, but anyways, I'm sad for knowing that, but let's continue.
I just watched the Ivan Ooze movie on I think HBO, so last week.
I'm feeling fine then. Let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077 if we can, real quick. New anime out. Seems to be well received. I haven't watched it. Is anybody on
It's
the panel?
good.
You did? You watched it?
Got amazing.
I haven't watched the whole thing, but man, it's been a fun ride. And I don't really pay attention much to the game at this point, but yeah.
Pretty wild, pretty dark, pretty adult.
Okay, so far I'm like 3 episodes in, I think, or 3 or 4, and there hasn't been that much adult content. Like the trailer made it seem like it was going to be kind of like a lot, but no, it has not. It's been the story's good, the characters are good. There's a lot of them. They all have personalities and stuff. It's just, even if you don't play the game, like I haven't, and yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. My partner who has played Cyberpunk says it's been really cool seeing the places that you go to in game in the show, you know, in anime form, and some characters as well. So it's been interesting for both of us, someone who's a fan of the game and someone who hasn't played it. So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I like that actually. It makes me want to play more of the game before watching the show, knowing that they reference some of the same locations and settings.
Mikey, you've completed it, right? You've got the 1000G on that game. I saw.
Yes,
it's really good. I don't know if it's still getting stick or it's still getting hate for people, but
no,
I think it's great.
I feel like I played it at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think you might have.
The police rework would have been fantastic, because one of my main complaints when playing Cyberpunk, and I gave it about in my score, I'd give it about an 8.5 or a 9, which is fantastic. But the only thing that kept it from a 10 was so many of the technical weird things that were going on with it. Like when police chase you, they just spawn out of nowhere if you do something wrong, or the sentry bots come out of nowhere and just start shooting you, and it feels so weird and off. And if you leave the scene, some of them will spawn in front of you, but if you get going fast enough, basically all it is from where your crime happened, you just got to get a certain radius away, and then the stars drop. And that was the police system. And it was, you could just drive right back and be fine and see the same police officers. And they're like, "You're good, dude. You drove a mile away and came back. You're off the hook."
Who are you? We've never seen you before.
Right. So some of those things felt awful. And a police week work, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, damn, I beat the game at the wrong time. And I waited so long too for it to be fixed. And it's terrific that it continues to get more fixes. And when the DLC comes out, I'm gonna buy it day one, and I'm gonna enjoy all the stuff that came with it. But I'm not gonna touch it until it comes out.
That seems like a good plan. That's another reason for some of the resurgence. We do have new content coming. We, of course, have the anime series. What I saw is that Monday had 60,000 players on Steam. Tuesday had 70. Wednesday had 80. Thursday had 90. It's pretty remarkable that a 2-year-old game is seeing this kind of climb.
There was a story today. I'm sure I've seen today that they've got 1 million concurrent players.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yep. I think it was a little earlier this week, and I don't know how those metrics are calculated. I like what I was quoting there was just Steam players, and we're looking also at Xbox and PlayStation, and they might have access to that data. And regardless, it's kind of a rags to riches story in a lot of ways. I've definitely noticed a lot less hate, a lot less. Oh, I feel ripped off in the comments that we're getting. I think what it comes down to, and we probably can all agree, is that releasing this as a previous gen game really kind of screwed it over. That's pretty much all there is to it.
It did. It hurt significantly. Had it not launched those technical issues, honestly, it needed another 2 years.
Yeah, that's where we're at. If you want to look at it, it's kind of a problem that's consistent in new games, is that we're getting a lot of games that are releasing unfinished, not in the state that you want them in, and it's just taking time to polish them. And you know what? If they come out good in the end, that's great, but it's definitely slowing my my eagerness to go out and buy those day one games. It doesn't happen as much for me, especially with Game Pass. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. I actually saw like a really cool mod for it that somebody created where they made a metro system for the actual game, so you can jump into like a metro car and it goes in through the buildings and everything like that. It's beautiful looking how they did it. It's very surreal. Like I was watching and I was like, man, I would probably use that more than the fast travel system, just because of like how they had it going in and out of the buildings and stuff. It was a really cool mod, but that's out there. I don't know. I wonder if I think there's a Twitter post about it, but pretty cool looking mod.
You bring up mods, and one of the things I would love to do, because I own it on Steam too, I would love to, because they have the cross-play saves now, I would love to play with mods on one save and then transfer over. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen, because if they're like item mods, I'm going to lose them. But one of the coolest mods on Steam that I saw was flying cars. Your wheels would turn inwards, and you could just fly around the city, and it works really well. Because I played around with it after I beat it, like a month and a half ago, and there are some insane mods out there, and hopefully, because I think they're also introducing a full suite for mod tools. Hopefully that comes out, and that in turn will also reinvigorate the game, and maybe we get them for Xbox. Come on, guys, that would be great.
They've seemed open to the mod scene, and we're not quite. I don't think we'll ever be PC parity, but it would be nice to see more games embracing more mods. It's changed games. It's created games. The modding scene, So Counter-Strike is famously a Half-Life mod. You just don't know what people are going to do when they have these tools and they can create for us. So let's start hitting some stuff here. We're getting toward the end of the show, and I just wanted to make sure that we covered everything. One really important thing is that there was a change to how Xbox handles DRM. During the recent service outages, we've had a lot of people that haven't been able to play games that they own digitally or even by disc. We've seen from some people, and the results have been kind of hit and miss between people, and a lot of confusion. So hopefully we've worked it out to where it's going to be a little more streamlined. You only need to start a game once if you have a digital version, and it will work offline now, as it should. Previously, that wasn't necessarily the case. Phil Spencer says an Xbox price increase is not the right move. That's kind of a no-brainer. Also a no-brainer is EA says if Microsoft made Call of Duty an exclusive, that would be good for Battlefield. And I was just like, well, yeah. Like, I don't know why this is an article or a story. Like, I don't know. Of course it would.
That was such a weird comment to hear too. It's like, oh yeah, pans, you can boil water in them. Yes.
I mean, I just read the
obvious.
headline and I'm just like, why are we even writing this out in words? And it's just, yes, if Call of Duty was not available on PlayStation, Battlefield would do very well. Thank you very much. Deathloop we mentioned. Hope to check it out. Who's played it up here?
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I'm probably about like 5 hours in.
Is it a recommend? Should I try it out?
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's a very great, unique concept. So I'm really digging it. Lots of replayability, obviously. But yeah, it's a solid game.
And if you're a PvP like guy like myself, you can really ruin some people's times.
Ooh. Did you just say PvP or griefer? I can't quite figure.
Both.
Well, sometimes you
aren't
gotta
they the
make
same
people pay
thing?
the toll.
But I will say they got a fair shot. And if I kill you 3 times, you should probably play offline.
That's a lesson learned. I've learned that in a few games. I'm like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm gonna go back to whatever's happening. So Xbox says it hasn't given up on Final Fantasy 14 despite a 3-year silence. I know Xbox hasn't
Nope.
given up on Final Fantasy 14, but I think Square Enix has given up on Xbox. So
What was that,
Don't
Roach?
say that. I haven't given up. Every day I talk about it in the server. I can't get enough of that game. That game's amazing. The devs are amazing. The backstory for it is amazing. Just
where
Oh,
are
man,
you playing? Are you playing on PlayStation?
no, I play on PC, but
PC.
I did start on PS4.
Nice. How did you like the console controls? Something that's very kind of sketchy with MMOs.
I played a little bit of it, but I didn't have like a keyboard accessory, so I just plugged in my keyboard and mouse after that, so I could talk to people.
Yeah.
But I have heard it is good, and when I played it, it felt good. I wanted to talk to people easier, so
Makes
Yeah.
sense. That's fantastic. I think Mikey brought it up on the last show that I'm pretty sure it's eclipsed WoW in subscriber totals, so it would be a big score for Xbox. But for
That's
some reason,
incredible.
Oh,
That's an
absolutely.
incredible feat to eclipse WoW. It's incredible
Concurrent
achievement.
players, I should say, not necessarily subscribers.
Right.
I know because WoW, if you combine classic and the modern version, technically they total more. But if no other game has ever come close to touching or even surpassing World of Warcraft, and Final Fantasy has
it's
done
too
that.
long. I'm the biggest World of Warcraft fan. I mean, I've got thousands of hours into the game over several expansions, and it's just too long in the tooth. I would be excited to jump on anything new.
And I will say it's probably a good thing that it hasn't come to Xbox yet. And the only reason being is because they had so much like server issues, like having to develop and also now take care of that. I can't think of the word off the top of my head. Maintain. There you go. Not only having to create and maintain that for Xbox probably would have hurt them in the long run with how much stuff that they had to go through. And now it's in a great place. But for a while, it was kind of hard to play on PC. They even had to cut subscriber count or like new subscribers or new trials
they quit
and
selling
stuff.
the game. They're like, oh,
yeah,
chill out, guys. We need a few months to catch up. You know, very reminiscent of WoW's launch. Probably the most hyped up MMO I think in 20 years, and I would love to play it.
Honestly, deserves it. I don't like MMOs, and I still say that. So whenever anyone's like, "Well, I'm not really interested because I don't like MMOs," and it feels like a single player game to me with just a huge expansive worlds that you find in an MMO. The quality of it is so good, and I think I did hear about the server issue. Is that the game was so popular, they had to halt new subscriptions being made and new accounts being created to play because during the pandemic, you know, all the parts, you know, there was not enough to go around for everybody, and they couldn't maintain enough servers for the player count after who was it that it was a very popular WoW streamer started playing
Asmongold.
it.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
Yep. It was all him, pretty much. After he started playing it, the player count skyrocketed, and they literally did not have enough servers to handle everybody.
People laugh at influencers, but somebody especially that big can definitely tilt a player base, subscription numbers, and this is why gaming companies are so eager to build those relationships, and they have people whose whole specialty is to find streamers and get them to play their games. So that's wild. Yeah, go ahead.
Asmongold was known. All he was known for was World of Warcraft, and he famously quit it because he was so upset with them and done with the game. And that was right when I got massively into it and was like the #1 frost mage on my server. It was a weird time. I got it right in at the end of it.
I had a great time through Missed the Pandaria, and then I dropped out just because it became cluttered. Everything that felt special was no longer special. Everybody's riding rainbow unicorns, and it's just there becomes a point where it's it's bloated. I think that's the best way to put it. So, but I could play an MMO if it was right. I actually like Elder Scrolls Online to an extent. It's just I would love to see Final Fantasy.
Me too. I will recruit everybody I still, even though it's on Xbox, I'm still in the Xbox in our server, Discord server, and just telling people, like, there's this critically acclaimed game has a free demo. Like, please, there's no punishment for trying it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do,
you actually get the whole entire base game for free to try, right?
And the second expansion. So you pretty much get 2 games for free with very little restriction. And really the restriction is I can't gift you armor. You can't private message people. Well, it's little teeny tiny things that literally don't matter.
And those restrictions aren't even necessarily meant to limit new players. It's to fight bots and spammers and gold traders and that kind of thing who often use trial accounts to move goods and sell them on eBay and whatever's happening. But it sounds like a really fair value, and even the WoW trial is like you can play to level 20, but it doesn't really show you the game, so that's pretty awesome. Someday maybe.
It's just my favorite Final Fantasy game for years was 10, and 14 beat it, and I came to the realization that it's an incredible game.
Nice,
and I can't wait to see where it goes.
I will wait for that. I'll wait for 7 Remake. I'll wait for all the classic Final Fantasy titles that have been pixel remade. I'll wait for Final Fantasy Tactics. But I'm very thankful for Dragon Quest XI and Dragon Quest Builders. So thanks Square Enix for that. And that's where I'm at with them. Iron Man is going to be in an all-new single-player game developed by EA, third-person action-adventure. It's in early development. A lot of people really liked what EA did with the most recent Star Wars release. Not Squadrons, but the... what is it called?
Yeah, Jedi Fallen.
Fallen Order.
I played it. I loved it. It was great. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Many people did. Called a slow burn. I've seen that a few times where it starts off kind of slow, but once you get into it, you just love it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was this?
The Jedi game where it was
EA Jedi Fallen Order. Is that right?
Fallen Order. Yeah,
Fallen Order. Yeah.
Okay.
Really good.
So it'd be interesting to see what they could do with an Iron Man concept like that. Microsoft's doing very well in Japan. We've got some new numbers. They've been really pushing over there, and I hope they don't give up this time like they did kind of with the 360 after a couple years. They were offering 5,000 yen gift cards if you buy an S or an X to bolster demand, and it's working. They are gaining traction over there. Nintendo is still dominating by 50-1 margins, but for Xbox it's a positive sign compared to last generation especially. You will still be able to disable the startup sound on your Xbox. That's very small, but it's one of these quality of life improvements, so you can look out for that if it's been bothering you for some reason. And the last story today is that we spotted a white Xbox Series X in a Logitech advertisement.
Yeah.
What a non-story.
It is a non-story. It really is.
I saw it on Facebook, and I'm like, guys, it's probably just a skin.
The entire ad is white, and it would be really weird to have a giant black Xbox there. Some weird things to point out is, first of all, if you look at the disk drive and the button, you can see the black around it. But on the right side of the console, if you zoom in, you can see little feet, and those are also white. And this is not something that is on the stock console. So everybody was like, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I guess Tom Warren asked Microsoft, but I think we can all safely speculate that but we might see it someday, but this is not the reveal of the white Xbox Series X.
It means some intern was PA was paid a lot of money to paint the base feet of an Xbox Series X white.
Well, they might have. You're laughing, but that might be right. They might have put that thing up in the picture and been like, "What are those ugly nubs on the side of that thing, man? We need to paint that up, get the nail polish out, and call it good."
It's like the sub exploded this week because people could change the color of the light in the middle of the Elite Pad 2.
You just never know what's going to track.
It's just such a ridiculous thing.
And here I am still remembering back to the PS4 controller when the light would come off the back, and I was throwing stickers on it so it would stop being so bright.
I know what you're talking. Yes, I remember that as well. It's just like I said, you never know what's going to track with people, but they seem to be pretty excited about that. And we should probably touch on the new Elite Core controller. Is that the right name for it? Gosh, I'm dying of names tonight. Anyways, it's been released with some problems. We've seen a lot of complaints about quality control issues. Stick drift still. We've seen some of the grip on the back had notches in it, and we can't tell if this is just the only people that have problems are complaining and everybody else is fine, or if this is representative of a larger problem.
What's surprising with the Elite Pad, they've had the Elite 1, the Elite 2, the Core, they've all had these issues, but the pad that I got day one with my Xbox is fine. Why is this high-end product plagued with such issues?
Very fair question. I haven't even purchased one. I know Mikey's using a alternative.
I've had two.
Mikey's controller is really cool.
I'm using an eSwap Pro X, and you can get the eSwap Pro S now, which is slightly cheaper. And they are the most responsive controllers that you will ever have on the market. I still think after looking at the new Elite 2, this kind of bashing a little bit, but Microsoft's lagging behind in terms of the competitive controller.
No,
the one thing they did do, I will give them credit, is they've now popularized competitive controllers to the point that so many other brands are coming out. It used to be only dominated by Scuff, and then Microsoft came out and they're like, we're going to do this thing. It became popular, and now you have other companies coming out and giving their controllers, and they're just absolutely fantastic. Like, mine's made by Thrustmaster, which many people might know that Thrustmaster is not necessarily great with third-party products sometimes, but this controller is the smoothest thing I've ever held in my hands. The analog sticks are one of the greatest things I've ever used in terms of a controller. I can't praise this controller enough. Whereas the Elite it's built solid, but it's still, the new one I think still has the input lag issues. It's still like 600% slower in terms of input latency than the controller I'm using, for example. It's not a truly competitive controller. And it's clearly made for a more casual audience to capture the money. And you can get a better bang for your buck with other controllers nowadays.
And we see this question every day on the subreddits. What's the good alternative to the Elite controller? And I think after hearing your testimony on the show several times, what you're using is a better alternative. And a lot of issues. Durability. You said you can swap the sticks if they go bad. Latency is something that a lot of people aren't even discussing. And as you've mentioned, it's slow. The Xbox controllers are slow. And this goes with the stock controllers too, compared to PlayStation input lag. Is that correct? Like,
yep. The DualShock 4 was like, especially also for PC gamers, because you can overclock your controllers on PC, but Microsoft, their controllers still suffer from this. Whereas the DualShock is absolutely incredible. These other third-party controllers, one that I've heard, which is like $99. Everyone swears by it. It's the Gambit. That's also another competitive controller you can get that I think has a couple paddles on the back. There's other options out there, and it sucks to be on an Xbox podcast and talk poorly about the competitive controller especially when I'm such a competitive player. I would love to love the Xbox controller, but I just can't. There's too many problems with it. Outside the quality issues, it's also just not that great in terms of competitive performance.
It's one of those things, I'm a huge Xbox fanboy, but I will call things bad when I see bad, and not even from personal experience, just from reading all of our user comments and and hearing all these testimonials, it sounds like that's why I'm never going to test it, because I'm not going to spend that kind of money on an Xbox Elite controller right now. I've just heard too many too many bad things about it,
And I think you hit the nail on the head too, Mikey, is that it's more for a casual audience. Like if you're looking at competitive, yeah, 100%. But I think what it does do well is it gets the casual gamer. It gets the casual gamer in there and gives them features that that they normally wouldn't, really care about, but does help to a certain extent. So I think that's a big plus for them is they get they get that competitive feel without actually being competitive, I guess. But there is better bang for your buck.
Yeah, you got it.
And I will also say, like, the Elite is way better looking than this thing. Like, this thing's kind of ugly. I've got green thumbsticks right on it right now for grip, but it's kind of an ugly controller. So the Elite looks fantastic. The steel shines and everything.
Oh,
and
they're
it's
pretty.
just, you can get a custom one. Like, my favorite controller for a long time, the Elite, the first Elite, was my Gears of War controller. Still have it, but I literally can't use it because the stick drift is so bad.
Yeah, same with mine. That's what happened with mine.
So
yeah, that's unfortunate. So
do better, Microsoft.
Yeah,
come on.
This is a situation where yes, like, get somebody in there, some better engineers, and learn from what's not working. The complaints are out there. They're well known. The things you're laying out are repeated on forums all across the internet. So take a look at some of that feedback and maybe do better with it.
Supposedly the 3 is supposed to be coming out soon, so we'll see.
We've heard rumors for sure. So we are dangerously close to hitting our first 2-hour show. So I think we should probably go around and.
I can bring up one more story.
Please do. Let's do it. Let's go over 2.
I was going to say, Nadella in the news came out and argued about Sony going against their acquisition. Did you guys hear about that one?
Didn't.
No.
I'm a very big fan of Satya. So please, listen.
So he came out, and he was questioned about whether or not the acquisition for Activision Blizzard would be approved. And he came out and said, if this is about competition, let us have competition. He shot back pretty hard. That's from the CEO
I was gonna say,
of Microsoft.
Yeah, for you those not familiar, this guy is occupying Bill Gates' former position. Like, this is the top dog. Somebody who's been very supportive of the Xbox brand and Phil Spencer and the transformation that's happened over the last few years. That's great to hear. I'm not saying like console war words, but believe in your product and stand up for it and fight back when people are taking shots at you that maybe aren't warranted.
And I saw one negative article by Paul Tassi. He's the games writer for Forbes.
I know the.
Oh, do you not like him?
He's a contributor. He I don't think he's actually officially on Forbes. He just writes clickbait articles and
clickbait is
like here
because this is a good clickbait. It got me to comment, and I had my comment on Facebook for his article almost had more likes than his post. He called Microsoft hypocritical, and I actually pointed out to him like, because he said how big Microsoft is, and I'm like, even after this acquisition, I pointed out a comment that we brought up many times. Microsoft will still be in third in terms of revenue for gaming, even when you add in everything they get from Candy Crush, Call of Duty, all of it, World of Warcraft, they will still be third place, firmly behind Sony and Tencent. They will move up a grand total of 1 spot from 4th to 3rd to overtake Nintendo.
I will add that somebody submitted that article to our subreddit and to the PlayStation 5 subreddit. The PlayStation 5 mods removed it, and it received so many reports on our subreddit that it got automatically removed, and I just left it. So some transparency for you. It was just such a shit article. Pardon the way.
Well, the thing
go ahead.
No, 100%. Well, the thing is even Nadal, he even said the same thing. He goes, we're in 4th or 5th place, like when you look at it, depending on what you're looking at. And that's where he followed up with, if it's about competition, let us compete. And it's such a powerful statement, and it's true. Paul Tassi, he can go sit on a pineapple. I don't really care about him. But
I could read the comments if you hate him from those and you would love him.
No, because I've read his stuff for a long time. He pretty much got like clickbait famous because he would pretty much echo chamber the hottest article on Reddit in like Anthem, and he would write about that. It wasn't even like his own stuff. He was pretty much just seeing like what's the newest thing on Anthem subreddit, and he would make a post, and everybody would start posting it. And yeah, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of substance for me as a writer.
A
Like
one-trick
like
pony.
somebody like Jez or Tom Warren, or Jeff Grubb, or a lot of these guys that actually have substance behind what they're writing. He lacks it.
Would you say Jason Schreier is better than Paul Tassi?
Wow.
Yes.
Yes,
I'd say
100%.
yes. In terms of what Jason kind of brings to the table, I think Paul Tassi just kind of rode the clickbait wave. I don't know. I usually can always spot a Paul Tassi article because I'm like, yep, that sounds pretty clickbaity right there. Like 90% of his articles are that. And granted, he's a journalist; he has to get clicks somehow. But I don't know. There's no substance behind what of a lot of. It's mostly just regurgitating what somebody else has already said.
Which
Sorry,
there's
kind of a rant.
There's a lot of there's a lot of internet sites out there doing just that and making a living off of it. So that's just the way of the world.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a cool guy, but
you know that. He might
as
be a
far as
dick.
he could be. But like, just as far as like, if you guys want some solid article, like solid journalists, even though Jez doesn't consider himself one, he is one. He's a great one. He has a lot of great substance articles, his stuff that he does. I mean, his Bad Faith article, I don't know if you guys read that, about the whole COD and what Sony's doing is all in bad faith. Amazing article. Go read it. He touches and hits the nail perfectly on the head. Tom Warren with The Verge, great guy too. Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat. Just a lot. If you guys want some solid people, there's 3 right there. Their Twitters are also hilariously funny, and you're going to be getting some quality actual content that isn't clickbaity.
I would even put Video Game Donkeys reviews journalism over Paul Tassi.
I would take that over.
Now it's Video Game Donkey Publisher.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that.
Xbox right on that deal immediately. Come on, buy them. buy a publisher.
Buy 'em up, Xbox.
With no studios.
We'll add it to the banner at the top of the sub.
No games, no studios. Just buy it. Just
for
the name.
The memes.
Awesome.
That's terrific. Let's go around the horn here and kind of wrap it up. We'll start with Kevin since you brought us in today. What's your plans for the week, and what do you plan on playing?
We're solidifying the move, so I should be moved into the new place by next Sunday. That's the plan. But when I can, probably more Deathloop. I want to finish the Return of Monkey Island. Like I said, that's a childhood game I grew up on. I love it. So I want to finish that up, and maybe some more Call of Duty beta.
Man, nothing beats nostalgia. So you go for it. Play Monkey Island, man. Get that done and relive some of that some fun times, I'm sure, from your youth. Mikey, how about you bring us in here? What are you going to be doing this week? More Call of Duty beta?
Call of Duty beta. I would like to complete some of the 3 games I'm working on between 2 Point Campus, Deathloop, and Kingdom Come. I just counted. I'm at 80 hours of that game. I would like to complete it.
Wow.
I would also like to start playing Death Stranding. I was talking to you guys about it before the show, and man, that first 30 minutes is so freaking weird. It's Kojima game through and through.
Trademark Kojima, right? I'm scared of that game. I'm not going to play it. But I like to know what's there, though, so thanks, Game Pass.
So I'm going to try to play that, too. We'll see.
Excellent. 2 Point Hospital, or 2 Point Campus. Have you played 2 Point Hospital before this?
I haven't, and I wish I would have, because I love Campus, and it's terrific. Right now I'm on basically the Hogwarts school. There's a magic school, and I wish I would have played 2 Point Hospital because I love this game.
Yeah, they're goofy light sims, but they have really good mechanics. So, Anthony, it's late there, man. It's like 5 in the morning.
It's like 1:30.
That's still
I was gonna say, is that white light the sunlight coming up on your face?
God, I am falling asleep. Same as everyone else. Stuck into Deathloop and the COD. I'll really give it a good go on the COD beta.
Nice.
Deathloop mainly, and it's an Odyssey. I've downloaded Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey off Game Pass, and
oh yeah,
I liked it.
Sounds like you
it
really
was great.
That.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to get stuck. It's time for me to get stuck back into these long games. I've been doing these quick completions for a little while now. Or
Spend some time with something. Get cozy with it.
I want
man.
something to stick. Yeah, get stuck into.
Yeah, get to know it.
Hey, you need a balance like me. You do the quick games, but you also do a Kingdom Come.
Yeah, but Mike,
gotta mix it in. Otherwise,
I've got
you
two.
find
I got
you
two
find
kids,
yourself
mate.
not enjoying a
I
game.
got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Oh man.
My gaming time. I have like 3 hours a night to game.
So Peppa Pig. That's where it's at.
Moko's 80-hour game was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just a 25-hour game.
He's still.
I deleted it this week. I've just resigned that I'm not going to get the 1,000. It's gone off my hard drive.
No!
All right.
What? I am so disappointed in you. Why?
Because I needed space with Deathloop, and I just
he had to make room, man. He had to make room.
It was a large game. I can re-download it. Like, you know,
we can all only eat so much, man, and you know sometimes it can't all be pizza. So
I'll sign into your account and get the achievements for you.
That's we issue bans for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we don't.
I need to go back and do one for Guardians, and it's like a bug.
I've looked at the achievements that I'm missing, and to be honest with you, I've looked it up, and they seem so much effort that I just can't bring myself to do it.
You missed the
I
costumes.
stare at the game tile on my screen, and I just don't open it. I look at it, and I think, should I? No, move on.
It's a shame.
Well, I will be diving in more on Slime Rancher. I'm going to play more Call of Duty, even though I'm going to get blasted by the shotgun over and over. I will also be playing Terraria, working on that big completion. I'll update you all when I finally defeat every boss in the game, which is I've never done for the thousands of hours I have into the game. So, besides that, thanks for a great show, guys. Thanks for the audience showing up.
Big thanks to Broken Roach. She did have to leave, or Harry Cockroach, you guys know her. Broken Roach, which segues into the next point. We have a Discord server. Usually she would come in, or Grim provides. Go see the Discord server. It's at the top of the menu bar. Awesome group of people there. If you love what we do here and you want to talk about gaming, or even Final Fantasy 14 with Broken Roach, she will be there to talk about all your... Yeah, so just wanted to do that little plug for her since she had to unfortunately leave a little early.
Yeah, and we haven't done the Discord plug in a while too, which is as Kevin mentioned, right there at the top of the community. You can click and join and come talk with us. We'll talk to you in real time and see what you're playing and all that good stuff. So
big thanks to her for coming out.
Absolutely, we appreciate her. I'd like to have Grim back soon too, because I need to talk to him about multiverses, but that's a whole nother subject. We are at 2 hours and 5 minutes. My God.
We did it.
Everybody,
we
play
did
some
it.
Games, relax, have a good weekend. Users and hosts and everybody that joins us, we'll see you all next week. I'm getting out of here. Ooh.
All right, guys. Happy gaming.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Adios.